everyone. I'm Anthony.
And I'm Eric.
And I'm an idiot. And let me tell you why I'm an idiot. Eric and I did a 2-hour masterpiece, 2.5-hour masterpiece. It was easily the best show that we've ever done. And then I didn't save it because I'm irritated.
Anthony and technology are like oil and water.
Yeah, it's like a communist and a capitalist. They don't get along. All right, so let's move on here. We're going to start over, but we're going to do this show a little bit different. Now, this is going to seem like it's high-paced and quick. It's because it is. We're only going to be about 30 minutes here. Steven, I need you to be quiet. Okay. So if it seems like it's fast, it's because it is. We're going to start from the top. Eric and I are both going to cover the Browns game. So the Browns and Jets played in week 1, and the Browns won 21-17. Me and Eric have a similar takeaway from this. Let me just say that I think that, the greatest quarterback that ever lived, Mr. Fantastic, Hall of Famer, Captain Yellow Jacket himself, the man of men, the icon, the myth, the legend, Sam Darnold. At least that's what the media seems to think. Okay, the guy is, let's pump the brakes. He had one good game against the Lions, and that's it. He's a rookie. You know my 3-year system. I'm going to stick true to it, even on people I don't think are necessarily going to be good players, because I've been proven wrong way too many times in my life. So I don't want to get too excited here with Baker, but there was a few things about Baker Mayfield that I got really excited. Number 1, the command of the huddle was obvious. Number 2, the intensity of the game picked up when he came in. And number 3, he elevated the play of the guys around him. All good things. Tyrod Taylor, hope you enjoyed it. Get back where you belong in the backup role and let the big boys play. This was a big win for Cleveland. And I think they're going to go and play a heck of a game at Oakland this week coming up. I don't think they'll win, but Baker time is now. And I cannot believe Hugh Jackson actually had the audacity to tell the fans he's got to go look at the tape. Eric, take it away.
Baker Mayfield came in and he commanded the huddle. That's what you want. You want your commander to command your troops. Okay? It sounds like something out of Remember the Titans, but it's true. Okay? Jamal Adams, Jets safety, said, and I'm paraphrasing here, but they weren't prepared for Baker Mayfield. They had prepared all week long, even though it was, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday for Tyrod Taylor. They had no game plan for Baker Mayfield. Okay? Which rightfully so, because you don't expect him to come in. You don't expect it to have the opposing quarterback go out with an injury. So, Baker Mayfield's two first two passes were spot on. Third time he dropped back, he got hurried, he got strip sacked, but the Browns recovered. The Jets didn't do much after they had a 14-3 lead. They only scored a field goal the rest of the game. Isaiah Crowell ran all over that Browns defense, which you can run on the Browns defense, if you have the offensive line that can create you the holes. The Browns, however, they upped their defense. They all 53 guys on the active roster, 46 guys on the active roster, rallied behind Baker Mayfield. It was intense to watch because the whole crowd was into it. And I'm going to use this phrase that I used in the deleted video, but it was like LeBron stepped on the field for Cleveland. It was ridiculous. That's how intense it was. That's how much they were into the game they were. So Baker Mayfield's going to have his ups and downs, just like Darnold had his up in week 1 and his 2 downs in week 2 and 3. So he actually took the bull by the horns and he said, you know what, that loss is on me. I created, stupid turnovers, stupid mistakes, and I'm going to take the blame for the loss. You don't get a lot of rookie quarterbacks who are actually going to say that. All they're going to be like is, well, we're a rookie quarterback, and we're going to learn from our mistakes. I like the poise that Darnold showed in his post-game press conference. I think good things are coming for them, but even if they pick high in the top 5, I think they still get a really good draft pick and a difference maker, whether it's on offense or defense, whichever way they decide to go. But if he has his weapons on offense, he should be an above-average quarterback. Mayfield, he could take the Browns to new heights, in my opinion. But they need the right coach to lead them. And Hugh Jackson is not that coach.
Yeah. Alrighty. Saints 43, Falcons 37, overtime. This is all you. Take it.
All right. No defense in this game. Defense optional. Defense stayed home. Defense didn't even go to the Mercedes-Benz Dome, whatever the heck they're calling it these days. For the Falcons, Matt Ryan had a huge game. Drew Brees had an even bigger game. Listen, when these two teams go at it, and they are, it doesn't matter where they play. They both love to play at the opposing team's facility, whichever dome that they want to play in. It don't matter. It's going to be a shootout. It's going to be a barn burner. The only thing that really you have to watch for is turnovers. I don't think there were any turnovers in this game, but Drew Brees and the Saints went in there, took the ball in overtime, did not let the Falcons get the ball, and that's when Drew Brees scored his second rushing touchdown of the night. 3 passing touchdowns, 2 rushing touchdowns, and the Falcons never got the ball in overtime. So, Saints win.
Yep. Ravens.
And Drew Brees broke Peyton Manning's career completions record. And I know we had a big, long discussion about this in the other video, but we can get to it at another time. But he's now number 1 on that list, and he's got passing yards to go next.
Yep. Ravens 27, Broncos 14. I'm going to take this one. Look, guys, Flacco's not a good quarterback. He's a great quarterback. And we need to stop this garbage now, okay? 277 yards, a touchdown, and no picks against a defense that everyone's pretty high on. He handled the pressure well. He's been a consistent quarterback. He's been consistently good for Baltimore for a long time. He's won a Super Bowl. I don't know as a fan what else you want from a quarterback. Well, he hasn't won 2 Super Bowls. Dude, shut up. Who cares? He won one. He's a proven winner. You don't get to the Super Bowl and win it and not be a big-time quarterback. Kurt Warner only won 1. We're going to sit here and say that he's not a great quarterback? I think it's time that we temper the expectations and we start to really look at the bigger picture when we look at a quarterback. There are so many things to like about Joe Flacco. He finally has weapons. He finally has a respectable receiving core for the first time since that Super Bowl run. And it's just in time for his defense, who's getting old and starting to break down. I'm not saying that they are, but I don't think this is going to be the Ravens' year because I do think the defense is old and they're going to have issues. But putting all that aside, Flacco showed how good of a quarterback he was. Big win for Baltimore. They're now 2-1, and that AFC North is looking really, really fun and really tough. And we'll see how it breaks down. Panthers 31, Bengals 21. I'm going to cover this one too. I watched every snap of this game. That's why I'm covering this one. This is the game I was most looking forward to besides the Rams and Chargers all week long. And there were so many things about this game that I thoroughly enjoyed. Andy Dalton played big time. I know he throws some picks. A couple of them were tipped. Carlos Dunlap played unbelievable. But here's my takeaway from this game. I'm going to apologize right now to all the Carolina Panther fans. I'm not going to wait until late in the year like I did last year to make my apologies. I've never been sold on Carolina because I just don't buy the one-trick pony show. But when that one-trick pony's Cam Newton, it's a pretty impressive pony. And speaking of ponies, they finally decided to run McCaffrey between the tackles and not make him a one-trick pony show. And he rewarded Carolina with 184 yards rushing or whatever the frig it was, and another couple passing receptions and yardage. The dude was a beast. He looked like he was back at Stanford. Andy Dalton looked great. The Bengals receivers, the Bengals did nothing in this loss to make me take a step back and go, now the Bengals aren't as good as I thought they were. They're every bit as good as I thought they were. But this was such a high-intensity game. I also have to say, Carolina's impressed me, and I think they're legit. And I don't know if it's going to be New Orleans and Atlanta. It might be Atlanta and Carolina. It might be New Orleans and Carolina battling for that division. So just a fun game to watch. Exciting. Tip my hat.
And he leaves out Tampa.
Well, yeah, we'll get to Tampa later. Giants 27, Texans 22. Take it away.
Well, Deshaun Watson should be coming back and playing well. They've been starting to get off with slow starts, and with Giants in town, that was no exception. The Giants came in, quietly did their business. The It's like they were the Labrador that went to the fire hydrant, took a leak, and said, "Okay, now I mark my territory." That's exactly what the Giants did. The Texans came back late. In the first half, J.J. Watt lived in the backfield, stopping Saquon Barkley, but they were able to neutralize him. The Giants benched Eric Flowers for a rookie on the offensive line, and after a couple of series, he started to hold his own. And I apologize, I don't have the name right away. But, the Giants protected Manning pretty well. Odell Beckham didn't get in the end zone, but he had 9 catches for 109 yards. And Eli Manning quietly went about saying, "Hey, you know what? I may be 37, but I can still get the job done." Meanwhile, on the Texans, they're kind of a mess. They're a lot better of a team when Will Fuller is in the lineup, and it shows. Sean can go to either Hopkins or Fuller instead of just zeroing in on Hopkins the whole time. They need a run game. Lamar Miller is not getting it done. And they also need an offensive line to block because Deshaun Watson is basically running for his life. He's been one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the first 3 weeks of the season. And that can't continue for a quarterback coming off ACL injury. Yeah. So I don't know if the Texans have enough time to turn it around. But the Giants are quietly, looking in their division right now, saying, "You know what? We're not too far behind. We can still make a run here." They got the running game. They got the pass blocking. They got Odell on one side. Sterling Shepard had a good game as well. Ingram is week to week with an MCL sprain, so that takes another weapon off of Eli's sheet to throw to. But, when you got one really good wide receiver and one above average wide receiver, then you got Barkley who can run and catch on the backfield, you're going to be okay. And it's just the Giants defense that really needs to step up coming up with these next few games, especially next week against the Vikings.
All right. Titans 9, Jaguars 6. I'm taking this game because, guys, I don't care what anyone says. This was an old school 1980s football game. Great defense all the way around. Timely first down yardage. Good play on both sides of the ball. I know it was a field goal fest, but, yeah, the injury in Blaine Gabbert, you had the guy come in. Mariota came in, played really well. I don't think that this was a step back for Jacksonville. Well, I mean, it is a little bit. But I don't think it's a reflection of Blake Bortles. I'm going to give some credit here where credit's due. I got to give credit to head coach. I got to give credit to head coach Mike Vrabel because this is the second week in a row. Tennessee played a game they weren't supposed to win, and they turned around and won it. So I'm going to give credit where credit's due because he deserves it. 9-6, it was a fun game to watch. Mudfest, close game, all the way to the end. Good performance. Chiefs against the 49ers. Chiefs 38, 49ers 27. Couple takeaways here. One, Chiefs look really good once again. Niners lose quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo for the season. That sucks. At least it wasn't an MC and an ACL, but unfortunately it was an ACL and he's out for the season. Hold on a minute. Okay, so one of the things that I took away from this game was going into this week, Eric, I was hearing that the Chargers were going to beat the Rams, that the Battle of LA was going to go to San Diego. Now, the Rams are the Super Bowl favorite that nobody wants to pick week in and week out whenever they play an opponent who's remotely competitive. So the Rams win. They shut everyone up, right? Nope. The Chiefs are better than the Rams, according to Nate Burleson and Pete Schrager on Good Morning Football. I like Good Morning Football. Fortunately, Kay and Brandt really were like, really, guys? Really? I don't know what's wrong with Schrager. He's lost his ever-loving mind. He's got such a sweet spot for Kansas City. I don't get it. The Chiefs don't have a defense. They don't have an offensive line that's going to be able to block a team like the Rams. The Chiefs have not played anybody yet. And I know that's their schedule. You play them, you beat them, you tip your hat. That's why I said what I said about Kansas City early on. I think the Chiefs are a good football team. But I'm not buying that they're an elite football team. I don't even think they're good enough to win the division, host a wild card game, and maybe get to the divisional playoff round. We'll find out about Kansas City in these next 5 games, as you said on the other show. But there's a lot of work to be done there. Last game that I'm going to take, and then you've got quite a few here in a row. Dolphins 28, Raiders 20. The Dolphins are 3-0. I told you they'd be 3-0 at this point. I said they were going to win the division. I still believe that. That's not my takeaway from this game. My takeaway from this game is this stupid rule that is now completely ruined the game. Protect the quarterback, to hell with the defender. But remember, we're concerned about player safety. So the Dolphins lose one of the best defensive linemen on their football team because he tried to position his body so he wouldn't fall on the quarterback and tore his ACL. I have nothing. I'm going to go on a rant about this next week because I don't have time to do it right now. But if that doesn't tell you everything that's wrong with the rule, if you really believe in player safety, this rule should be gone tonight. Forget later this week. It should be done tonight because it should not be costing people their careers or potentially their careers. It's not, is it player safety or is it only quarterback safety? Because I'll tell you right now, I would much rather have my entire team healthy minus the quarterback than my entire team injured minus the quarterback. Because I can't win a Super Bowl that way. But ask Philadelphia if you can win a Super Bowl with a backup quarterback. So, I'm done. The Dolphins got a big game coming up against New England, but this is despicable that we lose a player due to trying to conform to this ridiculous rule that I will be going off on later. Bills 27, Vikings 6. Take it away, E.
I watched this game. It was on out here where I am, and the Bills look like the Vikings, and the Vikings look like the Bills. That's basically what I can tell you. I really think Minnesota was looking ahead to a showdown with the Rams on Thursday night. I think that's what might have cost them this game. But, you know, the Bills were all over the football. They were flying all over the football. Chris Ivory looked like he was 24. He did. With LaShawn McCoy out nursing a rib injury, Chris Ivory took the reins, and he ran like his hair was on fire. Josh Allen looked like Kirk Cousins, like a good version of Kirk Cousins. Josh Allen was running around, acting like he was a kid again, in the backyard, playing football, saying, "You can't catch me." Now, I know the Bills scored 27 points in the first half and no points afterwards. Minnesota didn't score to the fourth quarter when they got a red zone touchdown to Kyle Rudolph. They held Stephon Diggs in check, 4 catches, 17 yards, but Adam Thielen killed him with 10 catches and 104 yards receiving. So he still got his due. And the Bills have been playing a lot different football since Vontae Davis obviously decided to retire in the middle of the game last week that they were playing in. You know, next man up. That's what they did. And Allen's getting better. He looked like complete garbage the first game after he came in for Nathan Peterman, and he didn't look great in the second game. But against the Vikings, he looked like an all-pro quarterback, hitting his receivers in stride, getting the ball out quickly, not taking any sacks. And the Vikings D really did not have an answer. I mean, okay, yes, they stopped them in the second half from scoring, but you know, the Bills were still moving the football up and down the field. They just didn't get into scoring position.
Yeah.
The Vikings, on the other hand, they are expecting Dalvin Cook back this week, but you know, big showdown with the Rams, and we'll see who's up to the task on Thursday Night Football. But to me, that was a wasted opportunity for the Vikings to put up another W in the NFC North.
That could be a costly loss for them when it comes to seeding. Eagles 20, Colts 16. Eric, take it away.
All right, Carson Wentz, first start back from his ACL injury, and he looked rusty at first. He did a lot of short throws. Dallas Goedert was the leading receiver, 7 catches, 73 yards, and a touchdown. Everybody thought Corey Clement was going to get the workload running the ball, but it wasn't him. It was Wendell Smallwood. He stepped up in a big way. You know, Carson Wentz is going to be fine. He's going to right the ship. I expect nothing but rust coming off of an ACL injury and trying to get the timing down. You can simulate so much in practice towards a game, but not game action. Okay, so he was missing some of his receivers. He wasn't on the same page with Ertz most of the day, or Aguilar, but he will be getting Alshon Jeffrey back very soon, in the next week or two, and that'll be huge. And if they also get Jay Ajayi, because he was out against Indianapolis, that's going to be another dimension for Philly that's going to be scary. On the flip side of the ball, the Colts had a lead for quite a while in this game. And Luck took care of the football. He was up and down the field. But the one thing that really, really raised a lot of eyebrows and put a lot of question marks over people's heads was, why wasn't Andrew Luck in on the last play of the game on a Hail Mary pass? To me, the shoulder's still not quite right when you bring in a cold Jacoby Brissett to throw a Hail Mary pass. Sorry. You're not going to sell that to the fan base. You're not going to say that, oh, no, his shoulder's fine. We brought in Brissett because he can get the ball further down. You're saying that Andrew Luck can only throw it so far, as far as like medium depth routes.
Yeah.
So, at least you got to try, because you never know. You could get a penalty of some sort when he's out there. But, it's neither here nor there anymore. You can't go back and change it. I just think it's a red flag when something like that happens. But the Colts, they need a little bit of a ground game going. Mack hasn't been right at all, and Wilkins isn't the answer, and Naheem isn't the answer either. They should trade for Le'Veon Bell, maybe. I don't know. He's on the trade block apparently. But the Colts have been in a lot of good games. If you want to consider Cincinnati a blowout, when they lost by 11, I don't. Even though since he scored late in that game, they've been in every game that they've been in, that they played in. So they're trending in the right direction. Frank Reich is a really good head coach for them. They're going to lose a lot of close games as well. So, and I think next year could be a really scary year for Indianapolis. But this year, the games that they're going to lose, they're going to lose.
Okay. Redskins 31, Packers 17. Best O-line in football showed up again. That's my take on it. E, take it away.
Well, I watched a lot of this game too. I was pretty much flipping back and forth, wanted to see how Rodgers was moving, and Rodgers does not look good whatsoever. He is not healthy. Something is very wrong with his leg, his knee, and he's going to end up doing more damage to it if he doesn't take some time off. But he signed that big contract. He's got an obligation to be out there and play football, and it's going to take another hit to his lower body where he might be forced to take some time off. This ball was played on a rainy Sunday. The Redskins didn't have a problem catching the football, but apparently Randall Cobb and Devontae Adams did. So I don't know if the Redskins lathered up that football with grease or something, but the Packers really had no answer. They didn't even have an answer for Adrian Peterson. 33-year-old Adrian Peterson ran for over 120 yards on the Packers defense. Clay Matthews, his third week in a row receiving an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty as far as roughing the passer goes. The first one was legit against Trubisky. The second one against Cousins and the third one against Alex Smith were really good form tackling hits on a quarterback, where, I'm sorry, they should not have been flagged. And he's got every right. He said, the league is getting soft. It's going to a place where they're not going to be able to rebound from. And again, I'm paraphrasing a little bit of what he said, but, I don't think it's really going to change what Clay does on the field. I really think that he's going to keep doing what he's doing. If he keeps getting flagged, what are you going to do? Are you going to tell him not to hit the quarterback? Are you going to tell him not to rush and just go cover a running back or something? No. You're going to have him do what he does best. That's what you paid him for.
Yeah.
And, the Packers are now 1-1-1 along with Minnesota. And, the Redskins, with just a little blip on the radar against the Colts, they're a scary 2-1 football team.
Yeah, as long as that offensive line keeps playing. All right, we're to the Rams and Chargers, so I'll start 2 games in a row. We're doing this together. Rams, Chargers, Bears, Cardinals. Rams 35, Chargers 23. The couple things that I want to talk about here, guys. We now know that Peters is out day to day, but will miss the game against Minnesota. Akeem Talib is out 4 to 6 weeks with apparently an ankle injury of some sort that requires surgery. So I think it's going to be closer to 6 weeks than 4 weeks. But if there was one position the Rams had going into this season, if there was one position that they had depth at, this was the position. Sam Shields, Nickel, Roby, Coleman are more than capable of stepping up into that role. Troy Hill, we've already seen him. Blake Countess, those guys are solid. Our safeties are still Joyner and Johnson. I'm not saying that we don't lose a step, but I don't think we lose enough of a step to be really overly concerned. Okay? The Rams have depth at that position. What I want to say about this game is Jared Goff. I'm saying it. I'm not predicting it. I'm not saying it because I'm a homer. I'm not saying it because I'm trying to pump it up. I'm saying it because it is simply a fact. There is no question. It is over. Conversation is over. Anybody from this point forward that wants to have a conversation about anybody else for MVP, they're kidding themselves. Jared Goff is the NFL MVP. This team isn't going to slow down, and he's proven it. Week in and week out, 34, 33, 34, and 35 points respectively each of the last 3 weeks. He had a throw that if it was Aaron Rodgers, there would be a 17-hour breakdown on the throw. They'd still be talking about it. Every highlight showing Aaron Rodgers would have that play on it every single time. It would be his staple regular season completion that every Hall of Fame quarterback seems to have. The one go-to highlight film everyone watches. But because it's the Rams, crickets. No one sees it. Unless you saw the game. Let me tell you what it was. It was bracket coverage with an outside dog blitz. Okay, that means outside linebacker stunting in with the defensive end. That's a dog. That he avoided on a key third down and then proceeded to zip the ball in bracket coverage. Bracket coverage means corner in front, safety in back, double teaming Woods. Woods is on the sideline staying put, not coming towards the football. Jared Goff throws the ball between a window. I've never seen a window like that get a ball put through it. Not Brett Favre, not Joe Montana. Guys, I'm not saying I've seen every football game, so there might be passes out there that are comparable. But in 33 years of playing, watching, and coaching football, I've never seen this throw. I've never seen this throw get completed. It went between the diving DB's hands and just past the outstretched fingertips of the safety who was covering Woods and trying to knock the ball away because he came around him to try to get in front of him. And he got the ball not only in there, but between the 1 and the 7, impaled his chest, stuck it on the sidelines for a big first down. They proceed to score a touchdown on that drive. The play that you all see in the highlight films of him maneuvering around and getting the ball off to Cooper Kupp, that was nothing compared to that throw. That was the most unbelievable pass I've ever seen a quarterback make. As a coach, as a player, and as a fan. And I've seen a lot of football, folks. So for me, Jared Goff cemented himself as the league's front runner for MVP. The Chargers were supposed to beat the Rams, if you listen to the experts. This was the biggest game in LA Ram history. And I say that regular season game. I say that because of everything that this entailed. If the Rams lose to the Chargers and go 2-1, we are never going to hear the end of the Chargers being relevant. And it's going to be, San Diego all day, Chargers all day, every day. And I'm never going to hear the end of it. And the team that doesn't belong is going to get more credibility moving forward. This was a massive win and a pressure game. And Jared Goff was like, Kupp. Oh, Woods, you're open. Here you go. Hey, Cooks, go get it, baby. Hey, Tyler, you haven't had a few catches. Here you go. Like, it was unbelievable. He was Joe Cool in the pocket. It was beautiful to watch. This Ram team is the best Ram team I've ever seen. It's the most loaded. It's the most talented. And from top to bottom, they have no equal. And it starts at the quarterback position. Jared Goff is playing great right now. And if he continues to play this way, I'm going to be able to say at the end of the year that I was right. Now, the Vikings come to town, and the schedule gets a little interesting. But he looks good so far, E.
Yeah, I thought the Chargers did everything they could to throw everything they had at the Rams. You had Gordon scored. You had Mike Williams who scored. The Chargers offense was basically up to the task against the Rams defense. Like I said, they tried to throw everything they could at the Rams just to get on the board, just create create the Rams coming back from a deficit if that was possible. But the Chargers were close in the first quarter, first 7-6, but then the Rams were relentless. They kept scoring and scoring and scoring. And the Chargers did everything they could to keep up. Okay, but unfortunately they couldn't. And it was one of those games where as soon as they got down big, the Chargers they weren't able to come back and catch the Rams at all. There's really not much more else to say. I mean, Gurley's a big weapon. Goff's a big weapon. The free receivers are a big weapon. The tight end could be a weapon. And then you got your defense that's disgusting, and because you got big name players all over the place. So, where are the weaknesses? Well, maybe with the injuries to the cornerbacks right now, then Minnesota can exploit that. But the Rams can score on anybody. So until they face a defense where they bend and don't break, and they have to settle for more field goals and touchdowns, maybe that's where you get them. But I mean, you have to be spot on and play your A game against the Rams right now, and that's scary for the rest of the NFL.
Yeah. All right, we'll move on. Bears Cardinals, Bears 16, Cardinals 13. I'll kind of just say my piece here. The Nagy effect on Trubisky, it's evident. It's evident. I think the most important drive in this game for the Chicago Bears was when they were down 14-10, and Trubisky drove them to a field goal. And I know it was hardly a drive, but Trubisky understood the importance of 3 points there, which I think shows a lot about his growth as a quarterback, his willingness to listen and learn from Nagy, and I think that was all coaching by Nagy. I think that this is going to be an interesting marriage moving forward. I like Nagy. He showed me a lot as a coach in this game, but Trubisky showed me what kind of relationship he has with his head coach. It's a subtle thing. It's a little thing. But throwing the ball away, not taking a sack, not trying to make the big play and just taking what you can get as you're trying to come back with that defense, that's incredible awareness, and that's an incredible decision process being made. So I'm really excited for what the Bears can be in the future. And hell, right now they're in first place. And I think you got to give credit where credit's due. And I think a lot of that credit should go to Nagy. And I think Trubisky should get a big pat on the back for not losing the game for Chicago while he's still going through his maturation process. Take it away.
Yeah, for the first quarter in this game, the Bears look like the Cardinals, and the Cardinals look like the Bears, actually. Sam Bradford led two really good scoring drives where he hit Ricky Seals-Jones for a 36-yard touchdown pass. Then he got David Johnson for a 13-yard touchdown pass, and before you could even blink, it was 14-0 Arizona. And then the wheels fell off. Bradford turned the ball over 3 times, and the Bears were relentless. He kept scoring. Jordan Howard scored on a 1-yard touchdown run, and even though he had 61 yards and a touchdown, he was still an integral part of the offense. Trubisky, needs to hit his guys who are open. He's getting a lot of tip balls at the line of scrimmage that are resulting in interceptions. So he's definitely got to work on that. There's always room for improvement for him right now, and I agree with you that Nagy is going to be the one coach who's going to help him through that. The Bears defense is ready to win now. The offense won't be ready until 2019 at the earliest. Khalil Mack was again all over the place. Third game in a row where he had a strip sack, and the last person to do that was Khalil Mack. So it's not every day you can trade for a 27-year-old pass rusher who's one of the best in the NFL right now. It's like the Rams trading Aaron Donald. Think about that for a second.
Yeah, you watch your mouth.
You don't want that to happen to you. the Raiders had it happen to them, and now they keep saying, "Hey, we need a pass rusher." Well, you had one. You didn't want to pay him, and you could have paid him a lot less than what the Bears paid him. But the Bears were willing to give up, 2 first-round picks for him, and then some, and get an extra second rounder back in the deal. So, the Bears are going for it, and this wasn't a great game after the first quarter for Arizona. 4.5 minutes to go in the game, they took Bradford out. And Anthony, I want you to tell them why they took him out. But they brought in Josh Rosen. Rosen threw a pick on his first possession, and then he had a chance to win the game because the Bears were up 16-14. With 5 seconds left, they were in position to throw a Hail Mary, and the Bears sent the house and sacked Rosen. It's what you do to a rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
You bring a ton of pressure because he's not going to step up and run because he's just going to get tackled anyways, between the 40-yard line and the goal line. But I want you to tell people why Bradford got benched.
I'm not going to go on the same rant that I did on the last show. I'll save it for next week because I'm sure the Cardinals will lose again. But this coach, man, he is something terrible. The question was asked, which should have been an easy answer. Did Bradford's body language after the fumble play a part in your decision to go with Rosen? To which, instead of responding, "Are you a frigging idiot? The quarterback just fumbled the ball and thought he fumbled the game away. He was upset." No, he doubled down on stupid and actually countered and said the following statement. It didn't help. We were already thinking about taking him out. When I saw that, it was time for Rosen. I'm like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Who doesn't have that reaction when they fumble the ball away? And I'm defending Bradford? This is bizarro world. But are you kidding me? Your decision to put in a rookie quarterback was based on your quarterback, who's supposed to be your leader, having a perfectly normal human reaction to a fumble. And you know why the fans in Arizona are accepting this as an answer? Besides the fact that they're idiots? Because they wanted Rosen all along. Well, be careful what you wish for. We'll see how this works out for the Cardinals. And if you don't think it can be worse, wait for it, because it can be worse. To me, it's coaching malpractice. And not only did you throw your quarterback under the bus, but your reasoning for benching him does not get your team behind you. And he already has this problem. I was telling this on the last show, and I'll end with this. He's yelling at his guys, and they're waving him off with their hand and ignoring him and walking away. Mid-yell, they're walking away from him. This man's already lost his football team. He doesn't have his players' respect. And in the NFL, that's kind of an important deal, isn't it? So we'll see how long this guy is the head coach. I'm actually going to apply for the job if they do fire him. Yeah, saying that right now live on air. The Cardinals fire Wilks. When they fire Wilks, I'm applying. I'm putting my resume in, putting my cover letter together. What are they going to do? Tell me no? I already got interviewed by the Chicago Bears, Eric. You remember that?
Yep.
Remember when I got contacted back? It was amazing. Anyway, I digress. I know what y'all are thinking. You can't just leave that story alone. Yeah, I can. Stay tuned for the next show. We'll talk about it then. The next NFL show. That's called marketing, or whatever it's called. I don't think it's called marketing, but you get the point. Seahawks 24, Cowboys 13. Two bad teams played a bad game. That really should be all you say, Eric, but take it away.
Two bad teams played a bad game. Carson had a good game for the Seahawks. Seahawks still have no offensive line. The Cowboys have nobody to throw to. However, they found a wide receiver just on the other team. His name's Earl Thomas, who plays safety, who wants to be traded to Dallas and kind of bowed at the Cowboys.
That was so great.
Story right there.
That was so great.
So Seattle finally got a win. And Dallas' focal point is obviously Ezekiel Elliott. I'm going to be curious to watch him throughout the year because he wears his emotion on his sleeves, and he's not one to take losing lightly. I mean, come on, look at where he came from, Ohio State. You know how many times they lost? You can count on one hand.
Yeah.
So this is not something that he's used to. Cowboys have no wide receivers. Witten's gone, obviously. He's in the Monday Night Football booth with Joe Tessitore. Terrence Williams is out there, but is he really out there? Cole Beasley is the only one catching balls. So, it's going to be a long year in Dallas and a long year in Seattle, too, with a shoddy offensive line.
So the Sunday night game was Lions 26, Patriots 13. It's just a different feeling about New England, guys. I know they start slow in September every year, but there's a bad feeling in the air with this football team. I mean, they're banking their hopes on their pass rusher who's been injured. Guys, I remind you, he wasn't that good when he was healthy. Like, the Patriots defense doesn't scare anybody. Their offense isn't getting younger, it's getting older. Gronk looks disinterested. Brady looks like he's kind of frustrated and starting to look like a 41-year-old quarterback. They have no wide receivers to throw to. They have no Nate Soldier on the offensive line. There is no running game, and oh, by the way, Burkhead's on IR. I don't know what else to say about New England, but I do want to talk about Detroit. This game, if you guys want to know how I coach football, and I can't believe I'm saying this because I'm not a fan of Patricia, but his game plan against New England, offensively, that's how I coach. Run the ball, play action pass. I watched the first drive, and I'm like, wow, every time they took the clock down to 3 seconds, between 3 and 1 second every time. Okay, second drive. They took the clock down to 3 to 1 second every single time. I'm like, did I just see that 2 drives in a row? Then the third drive, they took it down to 3 seconds and 1 second every time, and I'm sitting there going, I'll be a son of a gun. He's using my game plan. The milk the clock when you don't have a good football team to stay in the game. This is brilliant. I guess it took 2 teeth kick-ins for him to figure this out, but this was the perfect game plan against New England offensively. I'd have done things differently on defense, but offensively, and I know you're thinking, why would you have done things differently? They only scored 10 points. Well, they might not have scored against me, but that's another story. I'm tooting my own horn, and I'm not trying to make this about me. I'm giving all the credit in the world to Patricia here. This was the perfect game plan. This is exactly what you do on offense. And Detroit has 100-yard rusher for the first time since friggin' Reggie Bush in 06 or some crazy crap like that. 12, something like that, 2012. This was a big deal. So I was impressed with what the Lions did. And, Eric's been saying for the last 2 weeks, they're paying Bradford. They're paying Stafford to throw the football. Well, guess what? Sunday night, they paid Stafford to hand the ball off and to throw the ball when it was appropriate to get the chains moving and get the dub. That's what they're paying him for. And it's like the light bulb went on for Patricia. I hope it stays on because I think it would be kind of fun to see the Lions relevant. But more importantly, I know they're in your division. Of course you don't. But, for me, it's one of those things I look at and go, it was cool to see something that I've been preaching in all the years I've coached. That's been our offensive game plan. I used to have coaches going crazy on the sideline saying, it's a delay game. And my quarterbacks were trained. You don't get that ball snapped until that ref's hand starts moving. Because there's no play clock usually in high school. When their hands start moving, that's the 5 second, 4 second, 3 second. You got 5 of those, and then the clock's over, and you're going to get flagged. And we usually snap it within 3 or 4, 1, with 3 left or 1 left, and then we move on. And it helps when you're not a good football team going against a really good football team because it shortens the game. This game flew, Eric. So, for me, there's a lot of cool elements. I liked our show better last time around, but for the effort of time, I'm going to wrap this up. But it was really cool to see, and I'm glad Patricia got the W against New England because anytime the Patriots lose, it's good for football. Go ahead. Oh, sorry. Steelers 30, Buccaneers 27. Go.
So it's another game that I watched. I wanted to see how Ben would play on the road against Tampa Bay because their secondary isn't the greatest. And I wanted to also see Fitzpatrick play against a semi-better defense. The Steelers' defense hasn't really been all that this year. They gave up 27 to the Tampa Bay. They gave up 42 to Kansas City in week 2. And then they, of course, tied the Browns in week 1. But Pittsburgh's offense is still explosive, and they have a new weapon on offense, and his name is Juju Smith-Schuster. Get to know him, because he is taking over the realms of the number one wide receiver. Yes, I know Antonio Brown is there. People are focusing on Brown because there's no Le'Veon Bell, which still opens up holes for James Conner. But man, when you throw to a tight end, and his name is Vance McDonald, and he stiff arms the crap out of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers safety named Chris Conte. I know him well because he was a Bear. He got burned a lot with the Bears, and hey, it's rolled over to Tampa Bay. And he rumbles 75 yards for a touchdown. And in week one, you have Jesse James catching the ball all over the place. You know you have, or that was actually week two, is catching the ball all over the place against Kansas City. But you know you have weapons on offense. You know you can spread the ball around. And Ben did a great job. He did throw a pick early, but he settled down. And the offense was humming along pretty well. Flip to the other side of the ball. Their defense, they are not disciplined. 12 penalties. 12. 4 total penalties for roughing the passer, 2 on each side. And Ben actually got a hand to the helmet where it was a mosquito's wing touching one of your hairs that you don't feel, and he went down like bowling pins.
Like he was shot.
It was seriously sick to watch. It was like, dude, you barely got tapped, and you went down like you got your legs chopped off from underneath you. It was ridiculous. Fitzpatrick, provided the Steelers a lot of opportunities to score. He threw 3 first-half picks. He actually settled down really well in the second half and threw for a ton of yards. He actually had 148 yards passing in the first half. He finished with 411. He had a pick 6. He had a ball that was tipped, and he also had a receiver that stopped running. So when he hits Mike Evans in stride, when he hits Deshaun Jackson in stride, when he hits Chris Godwin in the red zone, and he's got Cameron Brate and O.J. Howard to throw to, they don't have a run game. They have no run game. Peyton Barber and Josh Quiz-Rogers are just there to block guys, and Quiz was doing a great job blocking for Fitzpatrick. They were just in too much of a hole. Tampa Bay punted with 3 minutes to go in the fourth quarter with all 3 timeouts. They never got the ball back.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Granted, they started on the 25 through 3 straight incompletions, and then punted, and I shook my head. I'm like, this ball game's over. Pittsburgh went down, got a first down. They used the 2-minute warning as an extra timeout for Tampa, and when Roethlisberger scrambled and take Juju over the middle for a first down, the game was over right after the 2-minute warning.
Yep.
And I'm sorry, but if you're going to punt from your own 25 with 3 minutes to go, okay, and you have all 3 timeouts, you go for it on 4th down. You have the 3 timeouts. You technically 4 at the 2-minute warning, and then you hold them to a field goal. That still gives you time to go down the field and get a touchdown. But that's not the way they played it. And now, they've already informed whichever quarterback they're going to start. They already know who's starting between either Winston or Fitzpatrick. And in my mind, it should still be Fitzpatrick who's the quarterback this week against the Bears. But they're not telling anybody. They're not going to tell the Bears who their starter is. I don't think it matters. Khalil Mack should eat one of them for breakfast and the other one for lunch.
Well, if it's anybody but Fitzpatrick, then Dirk Cotter should be fired. I'm just going to go there. All right, let's go to the Thursday night game. Tomorrow's game. Rams against the Vikings. So I'm going to give you a little bit of background on this. All right. The Rams should win this game. They're the better team. Are you there?
Yeah.
There was an echo. Okay. The Rams should win this game. They're the better team. They have the better players. They're coming in hot, and the Vikings looked awful against Buffalo. You can call it a trap game all you want, but you still got to go into L.A. But, and there is a but here, history matters. The Rams are 16, 27, and 2 all-time against the Vikings. They have lost 6 of their last 7 contests against Minnesota. The last time they beat the Vikings was in 2006. I told you guys in the beginning of the year the Rams would go 13-3. I figured they'd split with San Francisco. They were going to lose to Minnesota, and they were going to lose to Chicago. I actually think the Rams are going 14-2 now because with Garoppolo going down, I don't see the Rams losing to the 49ers at all. I'm sorry, I don't. Beathard's not going to beat us. So I'm looking at this going, okay, well, this is still a game. I had the Rams losing. I could very easily see the Vikings winning this game 27-21. I think the defense can get pressure on Goff, unfortunately. I think that they are good enough on the back end to cover the Rams receivers as they showed. And the Rams have the propensity to turn the ball over against this defense. Just the Vikings in general. I'm picking the Vikings to win 27-21. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're watching this and you're like, Anthony, that's malpractice, how dare you? Let me tell you how you know the Rams are going to win. If the tight ends combined have 7 receptions or more, the Rams are going to win. If Tyler Higbee gets 5 passes thrown to him and he catches them, I don't care how many times he's targeted. If he gets 5 receptions, the Rams are going to win this game. That means the Rams are utilizing everybody in their offense, and Minnesota, they cannot cover all of them. They just cannot. So there is a window to victory here. But if I'm going to look at the big picture and go, what the Rams have done so far this year, how often they actually do go to the tight end, what the Vikings are capable of doing on defense, the fact that they're coming in angry, they're not injured, they're angry, and the Rams' track record against Minnesota, I'm going to stick to my guns. I said the Rams would go 14-2. This is one of the losses, so I got the Vikings winning 27-21, but the Rams so easily could win this game. Eric, your prediction.
My prediction is that the Rams are going to have a tough time covering Diggs and Thielen, especially with Peters and Talib out. And I know they have Sam Shields and he's capable of handling one of those. But you also have Laquan Treadwell, who not only is a threat, but if he actually gets a couple of catches, his confidence is going to go sky high, and Cousins will start trusting him. But then you open up the middle for Rudolph, and Rudolph got some of his catches, in the second half of the Buffalo game. And then you also have Dalvin Cook coming back from injury. I'm not sure if he's going to be 100% or not. So it's going to be interesting to see how he is running in that game, because he sat out the game against Buffalo, and Latavius Murray took over. He didn't do anything on the ground, but he did catch some balls through the air. So I see Cousins, even though I think he'll get pressured quite a bit in this game, I still see Cousins being able to throw at will on the Rams' defense. On the flip side of the ball, Anthony Barr is going to be probably Todd Gurley's shadow. They're going to obviously still have Harrison Smith in the secondary, but they're going to be minus Everson Griffin. And that could be a big loss for Minnesota. He actually has been ordered to undergo treatment at a local Minneapolis hospital, because apparently there was an incident in the hotel room that they were staying in, or in the hotel that they were staying in, and they didn't like what they saw. Apparently, story goes that he threatened somebody with a gun. I'm not sure if he had one or not, but they asked him to undergo psychiatric treatment. So we know that they'll be out of Griffin. He won't be there. So my prediction in this game, I think it's going to be close, and my prediction is 27-24.
24?
Vikings.
Be a close game. All right, Buccaneers, Bears. Eric, I'll go. I'll be quick. I'll let you kind of really take this one over. I got the Bears winning, but I think this is going to be a very close game, nip and tuck all the way. I'm going to go, I forget what I said last time, so I'll just go with the score that I think is more likely. The Bears haven't scored 27 points yet this year. I think they do this week. I got the Bears winning this one 27-24 as well, like you had for the Ram game. I just think it's going to come down to a strip sack or a turnover. If that defense can get a pick six for a touchdown, I think the Bears are going to score 27 points. If they don't, that could be the difference in the game, and the Buccaneers could pull a 24-21 win or 24-20 win. That defense has to make a play, and they can, because the Buccaneers aren't exactly world beaters on the offensive line, and that defense is nasty. I think the key of the game is, and I think it will happen, is the Bears need to get pressure on Fitzpatrick, because yes, I believe he's going to be the starting quarterback. Not worry about the run, protect your back end, and lean on Howard a little bit more and let him kind of dictate the game a little bit. And I think the Bears will be fine. I think it's going to come down to a defensive play, and I got the Bears winning 27-24. Go.
Yeah, I don't think it matters who the Buccaneers have at quarterback because they're both turnover prone. And especially Fitzpatrick. Obviously, we saw it against the Steelers, and the Bears have a lot better defense than Pittsburgh does, especially when you got Mack coming off the edge. And if it's not Mack, it's Floyd. If it's not Floyd, it's Akeem Hicks going right up the middle. And if it's not Hicks, it's Roquan Smith. And then the only thing the Bears need to really worry about is whether or not Prince Amukamara is actually healthy to go in this game. They need him out there along with Kyle Fuller because Mike Evans is a handful. Godwin also is going to be a threat in the red zone, and Deshaun Jackson's a speedster. So they need to be able to cover those guys. But for me, that's going to also leave the middle open for Brate and Howard, which could be really scary if Tampa's able to hit on short, intermediate, and deep routes. Tampa Bay's defense really doesn't do anything for me. This is a game where the Bears can put up a lot of points offensively, and I agree with you on the Howard front. Trubisky needs to take care of the football. He's also had a lot of passes tipped at the line of scrimmage. So who knows, if he's going to be able to get the ball out and actually get it to his receivers and not overthrow easy targets. I have the Bears winning this game 31-27.
Nice. All right. Well, there you guys go. It's a short show in comparison to what we did. I think it was still a good show, and we will make sure that we have a full-length show for you next go-round. College football is next with a new intro. Can't wait for that. Go Rams!
And go Bears!
Total football talk. Catch you on the flip side.